going to discuss about a very interesting topic. What can you see at the back, children? What can you find? You can find a lot of birds, isn't it? So in today's class, we will be discussing chapter number 4 in our EVS workbook, which is about birds. So what we are going to discuss about birds, children? What is more special about birds? Birds have a very unique feature which we people do not have, isn't it? Birds are a special creature which is found on earth, and that is the special feature that birds have is flying. Yes, you people are correct. So birds can fly because of the shape of its body and also a special body part which the birds have, and it is feathers. So these are the two main features that the birds have and which helps them to fly, and because of this they have become a unique creature, isn't it, children? And they look very beautiful. They have different body shapes, they are of different sizes and colors, which we will discuss in this class. So now, as I have told you, we are going to discuss the different body parts of the birds. So the first part that we are going to discuss now is the feather of the bird, so which is a main attraction, isn't it, children? We can find the birds in different colors. How is it possible for the birds to have different colors? We all have same type of skin, isn't it, children? We human beings, we look similar. We have the same skin. But how do the birds look different? How do they have different patterns? And how is it visible in different colors, children? Because of their feathers. So birds have different types of feathers which are different in shape, size and color. So now we are going to discuss about the 3 types of feathers. Birds have different types of feathers in their body. So what are the different types of feathers, children? They are body feather, down feather and flight feather. Now let us discuss in detail about the uses of these 3 types of feathers. In our body, we have different body parts, isn't it? We have our hands for performing a particular task like eating, writing and so on. We have legs for walking, jumping and so on, right? So similarly, birds have these feathers for performing particular functions, and the feathers perform a particular task in their body. Now let us have a look at the types of feathers. The first type of feather is the body feather. So the body feather will cover the entire body of the bird. So what is the first type of feather, children? The first one is the body feather. Body feather will cover the body of the birds. Now the second type of feather is body feather. So this feather is very small and fluffy in nature. The body feather are found in the bottom of a bird's body. These body feather will keep the body of a bird so warm. This body feather will provide a sort of warmth to the bird's body. The last type of feather is a very important type of feather, which is flight feather. So flight feathers will help the birds to fly. So this type of feather is mostly found on the wings of the birds. So this flight feather will help the birds to fly. Then the tail of the bird will determine the direction in which the bird is going to fly. So far we discussed about the different types of feathers of birds, isn't it, children? Then the next important body part that the birds have are their claws. So birds have different type of claws. All the birds, they have 4 toes, but the positioning of the toes will be different. For example, 2 at the front and 2 at the back, or 3 at the front and 1 at the back, depending upon their purpose. Now let us classify the birds based upon their claws. The first one is climbing birds. So these type of birds have 2 toes at the front and 2 at the back, which will help them to climb the tree. For example, woodpecker, parrot, etc. The next type of bird are perching birds. So perching birds have 3 toes at the front and 1 at the back. Perching means holding the branches of the tree. So without falling down, they have to hold the branches of the tree, isn't it, children? So these type of birds which have 3 toes at the front and 1 at the back are called perching birds. So few examples for perching birds are crow, myna and nightingale. Then the third one are flesh-eating birds. So they have to tear the flesh and they have to hold their prey, isn't it? So they need large as well as sharp claws. So the third type are flesh-eating birds. They need sharp as well as large claws in order to hold their prey as well as to tear the flesh of the prey. Example, eagle, vulture. The next type of birds are swimming birds. We can find few birds which live in aquatic areas, that is few birds which live in water bodies. For example, we can say ducks. So these birds will live in water and they will have web type claws. So the toes of their claws will be connected and the claws will be visible in such a way that it will help the birds to swim in the water. So this type of birds are called swimming birds. So the next type are wading birds. Examples are crane. So you can find crane, isn't it, children? The cranes are birds which will walk in the muddy surface. They'll also live in some aquatic areas. So the mud which is below the water will be soft and they have long legs with spread out toes in order to walk in that muddy surface. And the last type of birds are scratching birds. These birds also have somewhat sharp claws in order to scratch as well as dig the ground. You people would have seen the peacock and hen. What they'll do, children? Always they used to scratch the ground and they used to find their prey, isn't it? So for doing this, for scratching the ground and digging the mud, they need sharp claws. These type of birds are categorized as scratching birds. Now let us learn about different types of nests. So far what we discussed, children? We discussed about different parts of the bird and different types of feathers, different types of claws, isn't it, children? Now we are going to learn about different type of nest. So what is nest, children? Bird's home is called nest. So the birds live in the nest which they built. Different birds, they built variety of nest with the materials which they collect. Few birds, they build the nest with the grass. Few they built with their nest with the stones or pebbles which they collect. Now we are going to discuss different types of nest. So before discussing the types of nest, let us learn few importance of nests. So the birds, they are building the nest for laying eggs in order to safeguard their young ones, in order to protect themselves from adverse weather conditions, in order to save the food which they collect and so on. Now let us move on to the types of nest. So the first type of nest is which we commonly see in many trees. They are cup-shaped nest. Crow used to build this type of cup-shaped nest, which is built with the help of dried leaves, twigs, thread and so on. The next type is the nest which the tailor birds used to make. The tailor bird will make their nest by stitching two leaves with the help of their beak. And another type of nest is the nest of weaver bird. So you could see the nest of weaver bird weaver bird will have sharp beaks for cutting all the leaves and twigs. So what they will do is they'll collect all the dried leaves and twigs and they will weave their nest. They'll make complicated knots and finally they will make a nest in this structure. This is the nest of a weaver bird. The next bird that we are going to have a look at is woodpecker. We all know very well about woodpecker, isn't it, children? Woodpeckers, they will peck a hole in the tree trunk and they will use that hole as the nest of the woodpecker. The next type is the nest of penguins. Do you know how penguins will make its nest? They will collect the stones and pebbles and they will form their nest. They will lay their eggs in the pebble, in the nest which they make with the help of pebbles. And the last one is the nest of eagles. Eagles always they used to make nest at high places like the mountain tops or the top of the tree and so on. Now we have few questions in our workbook related to the birds and the body parts of the birds. Are you ready to answer the questions, children? So in page number 13 we have few questions related to feathers. So first what you have to do is, based upon the clue which is provided, you have to identify the name of the feather and we have to match it with the respective picture. Shall we do it now? So what is the first question? Small and fluffy feather which keeps the body warm. So what feather it is? It is down feather. So down feather are small and fluffy feather which keeps the body of the bird so warm. So could you see here, children? So here we have small and fluffy feathers. Is it visible? So these are the small and fluffy feathers which is located at the bottom of the bird's body. So these fluffy feathers used to keep the body of the bird so warm. Now the next clue is found mostly on wings and help the birds to fly. So the feather which is found mostly on the wings and which will help the birds to fly are flight feathers. So is it visible, children? So these are the feathers which is found on the wings of the birds. So these are called as flight feathers. The last one is covers the whole body. So the type of feather which cover the entire body is called as body feather. So is it visible, children? So the body of the bird is covered by small feathers like this which is called as body feather. Now shall we match the type of the feather with the pictures, children? So what is the first feather, children? First one is the down feather. So down feather, the first picture is a picture of the down feather. Match the answer down feather with the first picture. The next one is flight feathers. Flight feathers are found on the wings of the birds. So it is the third picture. Match the word flight feather with the third picture. And the last one is body feather. So body feather is the second picture. Match the word body feather with the second picture. The next set of questions are related to the claws and toes of the bird. So we have 5 questions here in which the clues are provided. Here we have to unscramble the words based upon the clue and write the correct answer. Shall we begin, children? The first one is the toes which help to hold on to the branches of the tree. So the type of birds which have toes to hold the branch of the tree or called perching birds. So what is the spelling of perching, children? P-E-R-C-H-I-N-G. Perching. The type of bird which have toes to hold the branches of the tree are called perching birds. Flesh-eating birds have large and sharp claws called talons. So flesh-eating birds have large and sharp claws in order to hold their prey as well as to tear the flesh of the prey, and they are called talons. What is the spelling of talon, children? T-A-L-O-N-S. Talons. So talons are the sharp and large claws which located in the flesh-eating birds. The third one is these birds have webbed feet to swim in the water. So there are certain birds which live in the aquatic region and they have to swim in the water. Such birds, such swimming birds will have webbed feet. And one such example for webbed feet, one such example for the bird which have webbed feet is geese. So what is the spelling of geese, children? G-E-E-S-E. Geese. Now the fourth clue is I walk in water and soft muddy surface. So this is a type of the bird which walk in water as well as soft muddy surface. So the example for such a bird is crane. So cranes, they have long feet as well as large toes in order to walk on the muddy, it is soft muddy surface which is found beneath the water. So what is the spelling of cranes, children? C-R-A-N-S. Cranes. These birds are otherwise called wading birds. And the last clue is I have sharp claws to scratch and dig the ground. So what bird it is? It is peacock. Hen is also an example, but here we have the spelling of peacock. So these birds are scratching birds. These birds have sharp claws to scratch and dig the ground. So what is the spelling of peacock? P-E-A-C-O-C-K. Peacock.
Now, here we have the picture of a bird. You have to identify and color the bird. So what bird it is, children? It is parrot.
Now let us move on to page number 14. Here again we have 5 set of questions which give us clue. Now we have to read the clues and find the bird. Now all these questions are related to nest, children. So what is the first question? I picked the tree trunk to make a hole. So the bird which pecks the tree trunk to make a hole and live in it is woodpecker. What is the spelling of woodpecker? W-O-O-D. Woodpecker. P-E-C-K-E-R. Woodpecker. The woodpecker is a bird which pecks the tree trunk, makes a hole in it and live in the hole. Now let us move on to the next question. I make nests by sewing the leaves together. So the bird which sew the leaves together and make its nest is called tailor bird. What is the spelling of tailor bird? T-A-I-L-O-R. Tailor. B-I-R-D. Tailor bird. Now let us move on to the third question. I collect stones and pebbles to make my nest on ground. So the type of bird which collects stones and nest in order to make its nest on the ground is penguin. What is the spelling of penguin? Penguin. So penguin is a bird which collects stones and pebbles to make its nest on the ground. Now the fourth question is, I built cup or bowl shaped nest from the twigs. So the bird which builds cup or bowl shaped nest with the help of twigs are sparrows. So what is the spelling of sparrow, children? S-P-A-R-R-O-W, sparrow. The last one is, I built nests on cliffs or mountains. So the bird which builds nest on top of the mountains or hilltops like cliffs, and on top of the trees are eagle. So what is the spelling of eagle, children? E-A-G-L-E, eagle.
Next, we have to write few points about the bird which is mentioned in the picture. So what is the first bird, children? The first bird is the hummingbird. So this bird has long pointed beak, and this type of beak is used to suck nectar. So here the points which we are mentioning is going to be about the beak of the bird. So first bird, it has long pointed beak and it is used for sucking the nectar. So the next type of bird, a pigeon, it has short and hard beak. So this type of bird use a beak to make nests. So the pigeons, they'll make nest in a house. You people would have seen, right? They use their short and hard beak to cut the things which is required for making their nest and also to pick the grains. Then the last one, here we have the picture of an owl. Owl also have short as well as hard beak. Owl uses its beak to tear the flesh.
Now at last in page number 14 we have 3 quiz cards. So based upon the quiz we have to find out the bird.
Now what is there in the first quiz card? Which bird beats its wings 80 times per second? The answer is hummingbird. Hummingbird will beat its wings 80 times per second. Now let us move on to the second question. Which part of a bird is called as bill? The answer is beak. Beak of the bird is called as bill. The last one, which bird runs at the rate of 70 km per hour? The answer is ostrich. Ostrich runs at the rate of 70 km per hour. Now in page number 15, we have a set of pictures. We should match the birds to their body parts. The first row, different body parts are given, and in the second row, different birds are given. Now you have to match the body part of the bird with the respective bird's picture. So first we have a feather. So it is the feather of eagle. Second one, we have a neck and the beak part. So this neck and beak belongs to the duck. Third, we have feathers. So these feathers belong to peacock. At last, we have the picture of claws. And these claws belong to the parrot. The next question is, name any three for the following. Here we have two categories, singing birds and mimic birds. Now we have to name any three birds under the following categories. First, singing birds are the birds which produce sweet sound. So example for singing birds are nightingale, cuckoo and house sparrow. So these are the birds which produce sweet sound, and when you hear the sound of these birds, it will be like singing. The next one is mimic birds. The birds which have the capability of repeating what you say or repeat or mimic the sound which the birds hear are called mimic birds. The birds which repeat the sound which they hear. Examples of mimic birds are parrot, American crow and lyrebird. At last, make the bird to reach its nest. Here you have a bird and the nest is there at the center of the circle. You have to draw the way and make the bird to reach its nest.